All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us again for part two of Infinity's favorite Super Bowl spots of all time. So now, Ross, uh, Tampa Bay still in the mix here to be a world champion in the sport of professional football. Congratulations, I guess.
Yes, it's first time in a long while, and got to beat your Saints for the first time in the playoffs this season.
Indeed,
So,
I appreciate you bringing that up. That was very thoughtful of you to do that. But let's not digress. Let's talk about why people really watch the game. It's not for the sports ball; it's for the commercials. What are your favorite commercials that you've seen over the years?
so similar to Taylor, I think Budweiser and Bud Light, AB InBev in general, has always done just a fantastic job with creating unique spots that are memorable. And for me, the most memorable spots are the ones that get a reaction, and typically for me that's more on the comedy side and less so the raw emotions as Taylor went into earlier with the Labrador puppy.
Yep.
But if I had to pick probably my favorite spot of all time, the one that immediately comes to mind is a throwback, and it's the farting Clydesdales. So
I didn't remember this ad. We talked about it as we were getting ready for this video. I didn't remember it until I saw the video, and I was like, "Oh, I remember that now." And it's pretty funny on how they set it up and how they pulled it off. If you haven't seen it, don't worry, you're going to be able to. We're going to link to it in the blog and down in the comments here, and you must watch it and give us your thoughts on it. But Ross, what stood out to that one for you? Was
well,
it
I
the
think
art?
yeah, definitely it was the art factor. There's very artistic with the exploding candle. No, I think that for me it probably had to do with the fact that I was probably around 11 or 12 when that spot came out. And so for an 11, 12-year old boy seeing a horse fart and light a woman on fire while the guy was trying to take her on a romantic carriage ride, that just I couldn't contain myself. I was laughing hysterically, and so I think that's what was the biggest thing for me is just kind of the age in my life where I was and how that just really tied in to me. And to this day, Bud Light, Budweiser is if I'm going with just a casual beer for drinking on the river or something, that's what I'll go with.
Yeah, and who says Budweiser doesn't know how to reach an audience, right? They hit it and they hooked you for life. High expectation, low involvement product based around humor. It works for 1,000 really strong brands. All right, so Ross, we talked about Budweiser. What else comes to mind when you think about the Super Bowl spots?
So my other favorite spot of all time has to be the Jetta commercial with Star Wars
Yeah.
and the where you have the son who is dressed up as Darth Vader and is running around the house trying to use the force to mind control objects, and you see him struggling and he goes through probably 5 or 10 different things that he can't do, and he's finally outside. It cuts to that and you see him and he's trying to move the car, and the dad hits the remote start button and while he's standing there, and you just see this look of shock and awe on the kid's, or you imagine it on the kid's
Yeah.
face because he's still behind his mask.
Yeah.
And again, for me it's all the humor, and that's why I just love that spot.
Yeah, that was a great one. That was actually for a while. It was like one of the top three ads of all time for the Super Bowl for that commercial space. So that was a really great one that still stands the test of time.
And I would say
Anything
that
else
one
you?
had humor and emotion. You said
Oh
you weren't
yeah.
one for emotion. I think that one was a little emotional.
Well, it played to both because the parents, right, saw that and it was like, oh, that's so cool. And then certainly the kid at the end when he's doing the force thing and he does that little starter. There's a lot of emotion wrapped into something that you can't see. But don't be confused either because that one did include a cute dog in that spot. So there's a dog in that one where she goes to try to do some things. But it's a pretty cool spot that certainly stands the test of time as the top Super Bowl spots. All right, one other thought, Ross. Anything else that comes to your mind out of those commercials over the years?
The The other one, excuse me, sorry about that. That comes to mind is the probably one of the most iconic Budweiser spots, and that's the "What's as a, which became just a cultural phenomenon. I
Yeah.
remember everybody after that ad going to again. I think I was in high school at that point. Everybody in school, that's how you would address each other.
Yeah.
And so again, if a commercial is able to create that type of a cultural phenomenon,
Yeah.
that means it did its job.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. So definitely, how well did it permeate not just the people that watched the Super Bowl commercial, but that lived on after it? And that one certainly did for a while. And they even touched back recently, maybe it was last year before, and they brought those guys back to do a follow-up spot with that. That was pretty funny. But if you want to hear or see any of the videos that we've talked about, be sure to check the comments and down on the blog. You'll be able to find them there as a link. So be sure to hang with us as we get ready to talk to Meghan about some of her Super Bowl spots that really stand out and what stood the test of time for Meghan. So we'll see you again in just a minute.